But let's move into the last topic, and we're going to welcome on our patron, Zohnny Washington. It's been a long time since we talked to Z. And if you want to talk to us on the podcast, come in and check out patreon.com/mostofpodcast. You can check out the $10 tier. But we're welcoming in our favorite Suns fan, Z. Z, it's been a long time. How you been?
I've been better than I deserve, fellas.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're doing good. And I think since you're a patron, I think you deserve a lot. And I think being a Suns fan too and having patience, I think that also is very deserving of being good.
Which is not rewarding.
Not yet.
Exactly. So it's kind of like what's it called? When you're we're around the what's it called? The religious holidays. What's it before death? What's it called? Before you get to heaven.
Purgatory?
Purgatory.
Yeah, you're in the sun's purgatory right now. You're just waiting for them to be good.
Long wait.
But it's going to pay off, hopefully, for your Suns.
I mean, at least the Lakers struggles have got to be giving you some type of, happiness right now, right, though, Z? Like, watching their turmoil, you're like, ooh, at least they're not having fun either.
It's funny because I just find a new we're talking about Game of Thrones earlier. I just find a new enemy like Cersei. Like, no matter, the House Lakers suck now, but now I'm turning my attentions to Sir Luka. I hate that dude.
Why do you hate Luka?
Just because, man,
Is it because he took
all
DeAndre
the
Ayton?
attention he's getting, and everybody's like, DeAndre Ayton should have been picked like fifth, but this dude's averaging 16 and 11 or something crazy.
So
17
quietly.
and 11. Give him his respect, man.
So it's not because
I'm just a hater.
It's not because you wanted Luka. It's because you want more respect for your boy DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm happy with what we got. I like our little nucleus.
I'm just saying, Luka might have been a good fit for that team.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, you are going to be adding to that nucleus no matter what. Y'all have the third best. I guess you guys you're slotted into the third odds. It's such a weird thing because we're so used to the last year. But you guys are at least you finished with the third worst record, tied for the third worst with Cleveland. You have the you have 52.1% odds for the top four, just like New York, Cleveland, and yourselves. And then you also have 14% chance for the number one overall pick, like New York, Cleveland, and Phoenix as well. So you guys have the highest chances with two other teams to get the number one overall pick. And an article came out today from The Athletic from Sam V. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name out of respect for him. And he said, sources around the NBA are buzzing that Morant is actually the player the Suns prefer to end up with, particularly Jones, is thought to be a fan of the dynamic lead guard. It's not a surprise given their need at the point guard position, but color me skeptical that the team would actually take him number one. So we're talking now today, if the Phoenix Suns get the number one overall pick, should they take Ja Morant over Zion Williamson? And Z, I'm going to go to you. First off, what do you think about the other Z in Zion Williamson, and what do you think about Ja Morant before you give us the answer on should they take Ja over Zion number one?
Man, he's something that we've never seen before, I mean, you guys pay way more attention to sports or basketball and stuff than the average fan does. And I haven't heard like a template or somebody who we could compare this dude to. Just his, the uber athleticness that he has, people, you want to say like Dominique or Sean Kemp or LeBron, and then just his body size and the position that he plays. People want to say Charles Barkley, Sir Charles. I heard even Grandma Ma being mentioned, Larry Johnson, but that's no comparison. But he's the college player of the year as a freshman, just the impact that he has on the court and off the court. Just, I thought the Suns having the number one pick and picking the hometown kid and all this stuff would be enough to bring like some popular and, attention towards this way. But on the contrary, everybody's up Luka's butt and Trae Young and stuff. But, there's nothing anyone can say negative if we were to pick Zion, and just the impact that he'll have on the court too. Just the defensive liability that people like to say DeAndre is. Having this dude who can damn near fly from anywhere on the court to protect the rim, that's going to be a big addition defensively, and just the intimidating presence he'll bring on that side. And then offensively, I mean, he can handle the ball. He can shoot a little bit. Obviously, he's a monster in the open court. In the half court, I'm pretty sure Igor will be able to draw up some plays and, backdoor screens and lobs and stuff to, get him active in the half court game. But, that's pretty much all I can say about Little Z, as I'll call him. I'm Big Z, so there's room enough, though. There's room enough in Arizona.
You're willing to show you're a gracious guy.
I am. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
I think he appreciates that. And what do you think about Ja Morant? Because you came on right away and pretty much said we need a point guard. So what do you when watching him and at least knowing what he's like and what he's about, do you think he can help the Suns in the way that you think the Suns need point guard help?
You can, and I mean this, man, and I swear I wish I could go back in time and speak to you guys a year ago, but I've been on the Ja Morant hype train, man, before the season started. Ooh. And I was telling everybody, man, this dude, Ja Morant, mark my words, if you don't know about him, you are going to. And sure as, I don't want to cuss, but sure as shoot, this dude is, people are contemplating whether he should be the number one pick overall. And he reminds me of a little Russ, man, a little Russell Westbrook, just the intensity he plays with. Talk about uber athleticism, dunking over dudes, and just that ferociousness that he has. And I heard one of my friends talking about Colin Sexton. He's just like another Colin Sexton. Heck no, he's more controlled. I think that's that's Westbrook's problem is he's all this energy and stuff, and sometimes he can be a little uncontrollable and all the turnovers. I think I heard him say that he's averaging 6 turnovers a game in the playoffs this year so far. And when you handle the ball as much as Russ does and Ja does, you're going to have turnovers. But for this dude to damn near be averaging a triple double, with the rebounds, the assists, and obviously the scoring, it's something that can definitely translate, I think, to the Suns. And then just having Booker, who's been playing point Book, and taking some of that responsibility away from Book, and then on the other hand, Book taking away the ball handling responsibilities from Ja, I think that'll turn down his turnovers, proneness. And we need a point guard, dude. Anybody who plays point guard good, we need that. And I think definitely he'll be way more than what we can anticipate from that position, or what we've been getting since Nashville, really, or Bled, or Georgia.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that since you've been on, in the past year, that you and Dave just haven't talked about your love of Ja Morant, because I remember Dave talking about Ja Morant post draft last year too. So it's crazy that you're now in the spot to either hopefully take the guy that you've been in love with in Ja Morant, or one of the best college prospects we've seen in Zion Williamson. We know our thoughts obviously on these players, Zion Williamson, Ja Morant. So let's go to the Suns guy first, in Z, and if you're the Suns, number one overall, who are you going with? Are you going with Zion Williamson, obviously the best prospect in this draft, or are you going with the guy that you still love and fills that positional need?
With my love for Ja being, into this equation that I came up with, I still have to go with Zion, man, because
you're a smart man, Z. You're a smart man.
There's, mind over matter, and you think about it, it's not easier, but you'll have a more feasible time trying to find a point guard, especially coming up. I know damn near everybody who's a good point guard is a restricted free agent this coming up all season, but there's plenty of ways we can go to fill the point guard hole that we have. But as far as that 4 spot, and I think that's where we'd end up putting Zion is at the 4. And Derek Favors, who can fill that 4 spot for us? And you can't find, there isn't anyone in history that we could, compare him to. There's nobody in the league right now. You could try to say Blake, but I don't know. I think that's probably the best comparison, but I don't think that does Zion justice either. But you'll have an easier time trying to replace what Ja can do as opposed to what Zion could do. So with I mean, if the gods favor us, the old gods and the new, just on this Game of Thrones.
I love it. I love it.
If we could find favor again, man, and the good Lord blesses us to get the number 1 pick again. I mean, if I'm James Jones, I'm definitely going with the guy from Duke and putting him at the 4, and then trying to go elsewhere, whether it be trade. I just seen the Bleacher Report article pop up saying that the Suns were one of the favorites to pursue Drew Holiday along with you guys as Bulls too. But I mean, we can go with Drew. We can go with what's the dude, the backup from Boston?
Terry Rozier.
Yep.
Scary Terry. We could go that route. We could try to offer D'Angelo Russell a big contract. Try to trade for Lonzo. Like, I mean, there's options we can go with point guard, but I mean, you're not going to replace a Zion or a 4.
Yeah,
find a 4 like him. So.
I agree with you on that front. My question is, as Zion fits in with this team, like, what is his role going to be like at the next level? Because a lot of people watch him dominate in smaller competition at college, and while it is one of the most enjoyable things to watch him swat a ball 30 feet, just completely out into the stands, his help defense is awesome, but offensively, like, where does he really fit in with this team? Because obviously, like, fast break, he's amazing, but can he run a half? But where's his role in like the half court offense with Dev Booker at the point, or one of these free agent guards that you might be able to pick up?
I mean, I don't know, man. That's
the thing.
Unfortunately,
like, I don't know if anybody has an answer yet, because it's just like my assumption is just it's gonna work. Like, he is such a talented player and he's such a unique build physically that I'm like, I don't know what he's going to do on the court, but he's going to be out there. He's going to be awesome.
Doing something.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if he's a 20-point-a-game scorer guy at the NBA, but I think he's one of the most impactful players that's going to be in this draft.
I mean, I think he's strong enough to, get in the paint. And really, like, I was thinking about this. Like, there's big men in the NBA, but there's not a whole lot of, like, traditional, like big size big men anymore.
Yeah.
Like, right now playing the 4, like, there's not a whole bunch of dudes who are going to be able to, like, move them off the block and stuff like that. And I'm not saying you want to just make him a traditional 4 because you're doing a disservice to your team.
No, but he's got the strength because of his size.
Exactly. And then, I just think about, like, Draymond. Like, obviously there's 2 different types of players, but you put Draymond at the 4, and Draymond's like, 6'6", 6'5", or something like that, similar to Zion. And I mean, he could shoot it a little bit. I think he could move. He could take somebody off the dribble. You know what I mean? Or just, like, run plays. I mean, that's where you pay these coaches all this money. Like, they better figure out how to use Zion.
I think if they
can't, then what the hell are you doing coaching in the NBA?
I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me, at least in Zion's game, is his ability to do whatever you ask him to. And I think that's the easiest thing that's going to pan out for anyone who has him, especially for Igor, because, I don't think you need to really find a traditional role for him at all. I think the biggest thing you just need to be able to do is just make sure he's touching the ball. Because if he's touching the ball, something's going to happen. He's either going to find somebody who's open. He's either going to be able to take his man and take him to the bucket. He's either going to, be able to find a way. I mean, he's not a guy that turns over the ball over a ton either. He'll either pass it back and just, keep the ball safe and then go up and set a screen. I mean, he's a guy that stays active. He's a guy that finds a way. He's a guy that, even when he's not getting the ball in his hands, I mean, let's say Devin Booker just misses a 3, Zion will be near there, grabbing offensive boards. And that's one thing, too, that, and before, you jump in, Ricky, you having DeAndre Ayton and Zion Williamson, down low, grabbing offensive boards for you, I don't think that's going to be able to be, matched up against.
That's pretty.
I mean, it's one of the best combos there, at least offensively.
All the damn rebounds.
Yeah.
The only way I don't take Zion, and I wouldn't do this, by the way, but the only way I don't is if, like, in Tankathon before we started the segment, I hit Sim the lottery, and it ended up Phoenix at 1, the Hawks at 2, Bulls at 3. If that lines up, then if, let's say, I don't want Zion and I want Ja, I'm calling the Bulls, and I'm saying, how much do you want Ja? Because I know the Hawks wouldn't take Ja. Now, the Hawks could make a trade because they've done it before, and then you might not get Ja at 3. But the thing I'm already looking at is I'm Phoenix. If I get the number 1 pick, I'm running that Zion pick up to the podium. Because just look at the point guard. Next year, we're going to have a wealthy point guard class. There's 2 guys from France that could be lottery picks. There's Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois. There's Nico Manning, who I am already falling in love with him. Like watching his Hoop Summit, watching his highlight tape, I am really falling in love with him. And then we're also going to have
he's from out here, right?
Yeah, he is. He's going to Arizona.
Yeah.
Then you've got
he
Cole.
Went to Pinnacle.
Did he? I didn't know he went to Pinnacle, but I know he committed. But Cole Anthony probably will go to UNC, but he's a kid that can still go to Oregon. He's kind of deciding between the two. LaMelo is going to be in this class, and whatever you think about the Ball family, like LaMelo is supposed to be the best of the 3. That I kind of look at the Suns and I go, if I'm at 1, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to take Zion because next year, even if I'm still in the lottery, there could be a point guard that I can get next year.
Well, and the thing too is you're not in a huge rush because DeAndre Ayton's still super young. Devin Booker just signed his contract extension, and he's still super young. He's not even 24 yet. I believe. I think he's still 22, right, Z?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, Devin Booker will be 23 in October, so I mean, you still have a lot of time to wait for Devin Booker, and I mean, he still needs some growing to do as well. So I mean, there's time for him to really mature. And one thing too, you bring up LaMelo. I just saw him next to his brother. He's bigger than Zell, which is crazy.
Lonzo said he's going to be a lottery pick.
So it's super interesting to see what happens there. If he does pan out, we got to give a shout out to Negro Damas on Twitter. He's been talking to me about that. He also said Bol Bol's a top 3 pick. I'll lean towards LaMelo over Bol Bol there, but I think it's definitely going to be interesting for the Suns. I don't see there's a way that they pass up Zion Williamson, and I don't think Sam V from The Athletic was saying that. There's just buzz that they might. And I would wonder if they get the number 1 overall pick.
Would you make a trade?
That's what I was going to bring up. Is I don't think so, just because we're talking about Zion, and there's no reason to pass him up. There's no reason to trade him away, and yes, you do need a point guard, but I don't think that's worth passing up a guy who can be a generational player for a guy like Ja Morant. And even then, like, I don't think you'll be able to find enough value for it because you really don't know the value of a Zion Williamson. Because if you give him up for 3 first-round picks, you might be underselling him there.
Do you want to be put in the same category as the Portland Trailblazers?
Yes. I don't think Bowie will be that bad. Like Ja Morant won't be as bad as Sam.
But
Bowie.
I'm saying, like, if Zion becomes what we think he could be, it would be almost that category. Almost.
I don't know. I think it's funny though because like we had Jerry West came out and talked about how Zion is in that like can't miss area of prospects. It's like it would be Michael Jordan-esque to pass on him. So I think coming from Jerry West at that point, you want to just frame those words on the wall and be like, well, that's the truth. Like I know Paul Pierce is the truth, but no, Jerry West's opinion on basketball and prospects.
I don't know if Paul Pierce is the truth anymore after saying he's better than D Wade.
Yeah, he definitely hurt himself with that one. But whatever, he's an honest guy with a lot of self something.
He tells his truth.
Self-belief.
Yeah, self-belief. Yeah.
Tells his truth is also a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't think a trade's going to happen if the Suns are in that position for number 1. I don't see a reason to because yes, need is super important, but we've talked about this time and time again. If you trade him and Zion turns out to be a next level player, if he becomes a top 10 player, you're gonna look stupid. And even if Ja turns into be an all-star, but he's not a top 10 player, you're still passed up Zion for that. It would have to be like a Dallas Mavericks Trae Young trade, but I don't think you're going to be able to find that because, and also I don't think you're going to be in a reason to, if you're out there and you take Ja number 1, you're just going to give the next team, Zion Williamson. So like if they are going to take Ja, I think they're going to have to trade down if they do get the number 1 overall pick. But if they get the number 1 overall pick, I think it's going to be Zion. I don't think there's a reason not to. Like I'm not worried about his health that much. I'm not worried about his fit in the NBA. Some people are saying that he's not a next generation talent. He might not be. I mean, Zion might not hit in this draft. It's a possibility.
But I think it's one of those risks you have to take.
Yeah, and I don't really think it's that much of a risk. That's the thing.
Yeah, me either.
Go ahead, Z. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like just being a Suns fan, you just kind of like go through these different scenarios and something that you take into consideration is like the backlash. Like so. If we draft Zion and worst case scenario, injuries riddle his career, or he doesn't pan out, or he's just not as good as we thought he was going to be, or even if he's just a complete bust, like nobody can blame us for that because the whole world was saying draft Zion. But if you pass on him and he's what we think he is, then you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like we're never going to be able to live that down. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too because you've been watching Devin Booker for what 4 years now, and he's been a guy that you either love Devin Booker or you hate Devin Booker. Dave brought this up last segment where our patron John compared Tyler Hero
Dave's eyes of like, what did I say?
To Devin Booker
and perked up like a meerkat.
And immediately Dave was like, yeah, I didn't want to bring him up because people are just going to give me shit if I bring up Devin Booker. Whether because Devin Booker's better than that comparison or Devin Booker's not worth that comparison.
Who did he compare him to?
Tyler Hero from Kentucky.
What?
College production, one of the most efficient shooters.
It was just really
just the
shooting.
upside that could be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
see, you have the same reaction.
College Booker.
Yeah,
college
exactly.
Booker.
College Booker.
Yeah,
Make that distinction, though, man.
Yeah, he said college Booker, prospect Booker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, though, like, I mean,
yeah, no problem with that.
Okay.
People see Devin Booker and they're either like he's a force, and I think you believe he's a force.
So
or
worst
he's
player to have back-to-back 50 games, right?
Yeah, or he's the worst player to have back-to-back 50 games.
Whoa.
He's the worst player to score 60 plus. Like, I mean, people either love him or hate him and want to tear him down.
Yeah, so I mean it is what it is, but I agree. Like he is such a polarizing player.
Well, and the reason is because, like I said, man, unfortunately the Suns aren't good, and they haven't been good in a long time. And I mean, there's really nothing Arizona has going for as far as sports is concerned.
Yeah,
like all of our sports teams suck except for the Mercury. And then the fake football league that was out, the Hot Shots, we were doing good, but then the damn league bankrupt. So
ran out of money.
every successful team, you know what I mean? The Coyotes barely missed the playoffs and like all this junk. And I mean, like anything good that we got going for us, we try to hold it. And like Arizona is full of transplants, so like it's like a whole lot of people from LA, from Texas, from Mexico, from all these other places, and there's not a lot of natives. So anything that Arizona has that's good, or Phoenix, or whatever the case, we try to hold on to it, and we, you know what I mean, we're protective over the things we got going for us. So, I mean, that's just the reason why you'll get such a, I mean, I don't even know how loud Suns Twitter is, but that's why you'll get like a backlash or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just because, I mean, even the damn, what's that basketball show on ESPN?
The Jump?
Like, that girl, what's her name? Rachel
Nichols. Yeah.
Every single time she opens her mouth about the Suns, it's something super negative, dude.
Yeah,
and it's just like that's how we're perceived, and rightfully so. From the top of our organization down to the bottom, it's been a poo-poo show lately.
Yeah, man.
And you know what I mean?
Suns fans are
anything good, we're just protected.
Well, and I think the big thing too is that I think Phoenix needs some what's it called? Just something. I had the word in my head, and now I completely forgot it. Just something that gives them validation, or just like gives them like, all right, we are here, and you cannot question this part, because you even brought this up, like the success of Arizona franchises, like Phoenix. It does not have an NBA title. The Cardinals do not have a Super Bowl title.
That was bullshit, by the way.
Yeah, and same with the Suns too.
Back on the return, and I will argue that to the day I die.
Suns and Barkley made it to the finals. You know, the whole San Antonio Holmes thing, like that. That was bullshit. What's this? Harrison shouldn't have actually had that touchdown. And then you look at the Diamondbacks World Series as well.
More Goldie.
Yeah,
we got a World Series.
Yeah, we got a World Series, but even then, you look at your best player, the guy who hit the game winner in that Game 7 or whatever it was in Arizona, Luis Gonzalez. He was roided out. So it's immediately like
they were all roided out then.
Luis Gonzalez was especially roided out.
We don't question it. Like they were all taking something.
But that's the thing is, like, you could even question that, and like you even look at it like, oh, Kurt Schilling was your number 2, and Kurt Schilling's now like enemy number 1 because he's a huge asshole.
Yeah. Who was roided out.
Yeah, who was also roided out. So that's the thing is,
at
like,
least we got the Mercury, man.
There you go.
Yeah,
just hold on to them.
You got the Mercury, and then even Arizona, like the Coyotes, like they have not. There's always rumors that they're going to leave, and they're not even like
you
a
said
real
Arizona, and whenever you say Arizona, I think Wildcats before I think Coyotes.
Well, even then, no, you look at the Arizona Wildcats as well. Sean Miller.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that right now.
It's really depressing talk.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you get Zion, that's not depressing. That's something that's saying we are here, we are real, we are something that cannot be questioned.
Zion
so
could
that's
be
my
to the
question.
Suns what Derrick Rose was to the Bulls, except Derrick Rose was hometown.
They give you
so
an
it's DeAndre
authority.
Ayton.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton.
So that's the question is, if you want to establish that you are here and Zion's doing this, how many wins is this team going to have next year? Because if you think that Zion is, the impactful player that he is, like, are we talking about a run for an 8 seed here?
Bro, look.
The battle with Luka.
We would have. I'm not saying we would have made the playoffs, but we would have hit 30-something wins if we had a point guard, man. Mm-hmm. And I believe that, bro. Like, I believe that very, very strongly. If we had a point guard who could run the offense and feed DeAndre Ayton, I mean, it was a stretch where, like, dude only had, like, 6 shots a game.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does that happen? Like, you got to feed this dude. And then, I mean, all the injuries. I mean, if we had a point guard, bro, I think we would have won, like, 30-something games. So that could just be me as a brainwashed Suns
No, and that's
fan,
fine. Like, as a Bulls fan, I'm like, we're a playoff team. Like, no questions asked. So, like, we're completely good with these takes on the show, Z. So you think that they can jump from 19 to, the range of, like, the upper 30s going into next year?
That's all I want. That's all I want. As long as we're not in the damn, like,
top 4?
10,
yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I would have been happy this year with, like, 26 wins.
Yeah. That would have been nice. I mean, and you guys still would have been in 15th in the West.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I think. I don't know about upper 30s for even adding Zion, but I think it would just bring motion to this rebuild finally. And I mean, you even have, like, rumors coming out that it's the worst front office ever, and you have Sarver, who's seen as the worst owner. Like, I mean, getting Zion, not only would it add wins to this team, not only would it add something that gives you an authority there, and it would just give you something to, I think, more hope, at least in Phoenix. And it wouldn't just be a team that's kind of just the deserted wasteland. I think even if you get Ja too, like, Ja will still have this impact. But if you have the number 1 overall pick, I think this is why you can't pass up Zion. If you get Ja, I think things are still gonna be golden.
At 2 or 3,
it's still gonna push things forward. And I think this is gonna be a team that could get to, like, 25 wins for sure. But it is something that if you get the number 1 overall pick, you have to get Zion because it's just going to add credibility to your team.
Yeah.
It's very weird that I'm looking up right now. If the Suns get Ja and they go to the playoffs, it would be almost exactly like when the Bulls drafted Derrick Rose. Because you look at it, we were not a playoff team, but you think about it. Our point guards were Duhan and Kurt Heinrich.
Yeah.
Ugh. Captain Kirk, I love you. Duhan. We had Ben Gordon starting at the 2. We had Luol Deng at the 3, a young Tyrese Thomas at the 4, and a rookie Joakim Noah at the 5.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly,
Derrick Rose, we drafted him. We're a playoff team his rookie year.
That's a fun comp.
I looked at that and I was like, wow. Like, a point guard makes the world of difference in the NBA.
It absolutely does. So if you get yourself a Zion Williamson and then you get a point guard in free agency, you guys are pretty much set moving forward to compete, hopefully, in that late lottery, potential 8th seed range, maybe.
The one thing though is how bad was the East that year?
Well, I didn't look at that.
So that's the only thing.
The East and West are different.
There are some similarities.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like I don't think the East was that. I don't think
Dave's like, I want to give credit where credit's due.
I'm giving him credit. That was actually not.
Don't think the East.
Crazy take.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
the West is loaded right now.
That would be the one thing that would hurt the Suns' chances to make the playoffs is the conference they play in.
Yeah. The question that I want to throw.
I don't think it's a bad comp. I'm just saying that's the one thing that probably holds that comp back.
That's
the
fair.
question I want to throw at you, Z, and I sim the lottery again on Tankathon, which is a terrible thing to do.
That's all Ricky does.
Let's say the top 3 ended out this way. Knicks at 1, Grizz at 2, and then the Suns at 3. If you're at 3 behind the Grizzlies, are you trading up with the Grizz to try to get Ja, or are you going to sit there and go, you know what, I don't think they take Ja, we can get him at 3? Like, if you're the Suns, if you're not at 1 or 2, do you trade up for Ja no matter what, or do you sit back even if you're at 3 and say, no, we can get Ja right there at number 3?
Nope, I'm not trading. I'll see this. I'll wait to see if obviously New York will take Zion. I mean, I think Memphis is going to trade or either let walk.
Mike Conley.
What's his face? Michael Conley. So yeah. I think they're going to definitely go with Ja. And if they didn't, then we pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I think they'd probably be better suited getting a wing, huh?
Yeah,
I don't know. They might go for RJ.
Yeah, I could see that easy.
I think the Grizzlies can go Ja, but yeah, I mean, if they're gonna stick and ride with Conley, they're probably gonna win.
So
put the Bulls there instead. Put the Bulls at 2. Put the Suns at 3. Like if Ja is off the board and if Zion's off the board, as a Suns fan, what are you doing?
Trade it quick. Trade it quick. Because if we do not need we don't need another wing. I don't want RJ Barrett. I don't want Cam Reddish. What's the point guard out of wherever I don't know. Any other point guard I'm not interested in.
It's either Darius Garland or Kobe White.
Yeah, I'm not interested in either of those, and they might turn out to be the steals of the draft. Who knows? But what I would do as a Suns fan, what would make me happy if Ja and Zion are both off the board, trade it and try to get a point guard that way, a proven guy who's already been in the league, preferably Lonzo. Like, give that pick to the Lakers for Lonzo, and I mean we'd even throw him like Dragon Bender or somebody, I don't know, just to move a contract, give us Lonzo, and then that'll give you more firepower to get Anthony Davis to LA.
That'd be interesting.
That's what I would say.
It's interesting.
I think Lonzo is like the perfect point guard for the Suns right now.
Yeah, I mean, he'd definitely be interesting because, I mean, you look at the biggest knock on Booker, and I think it's fair, is his lack of defense. And, I mean, Lonzo has been the best defender for the Lakers for the past 2 years. So immediately that's an improvement there. And, I mean, his ability to facilitate is insane. And running the fast break, he's bar none. I mean, one of the better ones. Yeah, it's just really the half court.
His size too, pause.
What's that?
I said his size too, pause. So, I mean, I think he's ideal, man. If we could, that's why when this whole Anthony Davis to the Lakers thing, it was all bittersweet because obviously the Lakers are going to get better. But if we could get Lonzo somehow, I mean, godly.
Well, and also, I mean, you got to look at his career in Phoenix. Lonzo Ball, first ever game he had there, he had the triple double. So immediately he's performed in Phoenix.
Yeah. So, and his dad's a prophet. He said all 3 of them are going to be in Phoenix. So we'll see.
Did he really say that?
Yeah. During all this, he was on a sports radio show out here.
Okay.
And said it.
I love it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Phoenix talk. If the Suns are at 1, we're all thinking that they should take Zion Williamson. But you know, if they do get the number 2 pick, Ja Morant would be a great pick for them, and I think that would be probably the plan that's going to end up happening. Obviously, we got to see what happens with the lottery on May 14th, right? May 14th.
When is I should have this date.
Tuesday, May 14th.
Tuesday, May 14th. So obviously, we'll be waiting there. Z will be glued to his TV, hoping that the Suns come up 2 or 1. But we'll have to see until that date. Z, we're so glad that you could join us, and good luck with Game of Thrones. Finishing the binge.
The sun will rise.
Winter's here, my friend.
All right.
The sun will rise.
And if you want to be like Z, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Also, don't forget to check us out on iTunes. If you're over there, rate us 5 stars. It would mean the absolute world to us. We want to thank Z, we want to thank John, and we want to thank Eric, all for being on the Patreon podcast today. Loaded up with Patreons today. And then next week, we will have another mock draft. And is that going to be the Lotto mock draft?
That's the live Lotto.
That's the live Lotto. So, Z, we will have an answer for you on where the Suns will be picking in our mock draft next week. So stay tuned to that. And then for Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.